So today I'm very pleased to welcome Natalia Tsybuliak, who is an associate professor in the Department of Applied Psychology and Speech Therapy at the Faculty of Preschool, Special and Social Education at the Berdyansk State Pedagogical University, Ukraine. She specializes in researching the values of teaching and learning in higher education institutions during times of crisis, providing psychological support to participants in educational processes in higher education institutions, and studying the impact of the full-scale war in Ukraine on different groups of people. So she has been an ambassador in our ambassador training program earlier this year, and also took part in our conference in Budapest. So I'm very, very pleased to welcome Natalia, and we're looking forward to hearing your presentation.
I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to you for introducing me and extending the invitation to speak on this webinar. It is an incredible opportunity to be a voice of my university and to tell our case, our story of struggle in war times. What is the concept university without walls? Back in 1976, the journal Higher Education published an article in which some researchers reflected a new trends in higher education. Among these concepts on individualization of education, quality of teaching, and teacher training already adopted today. But the idea of an open university or university without walls, intending to offer radical alternatives to both new and traditional types of students. This trend already had a practical implementation at that time. As early as 1971, the University Without Walls experiment was piloted in the University of Massachusetts. The main idea of this experiment was to gain knowledge both inside and outside the walls of the university. It is called University Without Walls because it abandons the idea of sharply circumscribed campus and provides education for students, whatever they may be. At work, on campus, on their homes, throughout classes and internships, independent study and field experiences within areas of special social problems, and in travel and service abroad. But nowadays, these trends umbrella terms of all online and lifelong offerings, including undergraduate, certificate, and non-degree programs. Gradually, this new paradigm entered the programs of many universities because with the approach, teachers and students can be separated in a time, in a space, but communicate effectively, combining a set of technology and provide interaction between remote places and learning spaces. Along with this popularity and development of the idea of open universities or universities without walls, a criticism of this concept gradually appeared. In particular, it was emphasized that technology is not enough for the full implementation of this model. The COVID-19 pandemic shifted almost the entire world to online learning for a while, allowing the realization of a 30-year-old trend at the global level. However, have all universities become independent of campuses? No. As soon as restrictions were lifted, university returned to offline and hybrid learning. Also, with some assumption, it can be stated that most of the programs during the pandemic were held in asynchronous online learning, and asynchronous learning technology were only in development. But in our case, in Ukraine, university without walls is a terrible reality. Ukrainian university also had this experience, and we have such a joke that if a pandemic had not occurred in the world, it would have been worse invented one for Ukraine. This is what helped us to adapt quickly to the war in a certain way. Berdyansk State Pedagogical University, my university, prepares teachers for the North Azov region. It is located in Berdyansk, which is known to be a small resort city, and our university is considered the town-forming institution. On the first day of war, Berdyansk woke up to powerful explosions near the military unit and the airport. On the February 27, occupational authorities entered Berdyansk and the city was occupied. Today exactly it is 1 year and 8 months that our city, my own city, is occupied. There was often no mobile phone or internet in the city. People turned into zombies. Everyone wandered around the city in search of at least Wi-Fi to catch the network for a minute and read the news. What is out there? Where is no occupation? Is the war still going on? On whose side is the advantages? Informational isolation was killing us. It was impossible to carry out educational and scientific activities in such situation. It was decided to suspend the educational process in our university. It should be noted that in the first weeks of the war, all universities in our country had a similar situation. On March 1st, 2022, armed Russian invaders entered the director's office and he was taken away with the bag on his head at the gunpoint for a conversation with representatives of Russian Federal Security Services. In the face of death, the director did not give up Ukrainian national values. He answered, "We have gotten used to freedom and democracy. We have known the sweet taste of freedom of our thoughts and choices. We will never change it on the three-colored flag." After a while, the rector of our university was released. We had no understanding in such situation how it's possible to carry out our activities in the legal field of Ukraine in our occupied city. Understanding the dangers to which the students, academic staff, and our families are exposed, the procedures of the temporary relocation of the university has started. During the occupation, the university was in danger. Occupation is not about changing one state flag to another. Occupation means torture, sexual violence, enforced disappearance, filtration camps, and mass graves. Most of us left the city under shelling, saving the life of our relatives and our children, in which the occupiers either shelter their people to destroy everything in our home. There was only one road left from the occupied city, which is called the road of death, because not everyone could withstand long queues, heat, lack of food and water, shelling and abuse from the occupiers. In a new city, we found ourselves without our own homes, in new living conditions. Accordingly, we feel the limitation of a budget as a result of relocation and have to adapt to the new social, cultural, and domestic conditions. This requires significant internal and time resources. It can't be a life balance in such situation. Berdyansk State Pedagogical University became one of the relocated universities in Ukraine that during the city's occupation remained without walls, lost its material, technical-based part of the staff and students. Our university has relocated to the frontline city in Zaporizhia. It's our city, where it's now based at Zaporizhia National University, but it is only 2 rooms in this university, so we don't have walls exactly. The university continues to carry out its activities fully but totally in online format. University without walls is no longer a metaphor for us. It is our reality. We have no walls. What was a global trend has become a terrible reality for us. Today, 31 universities have been relocated in Ukraine. Relocating in the university means re-registration at a new location and transferring the site to cloud storage. Due to the safety situation and the lack of humanitarian corridor of evacuation, the university management was able to take out only the founding documents and the seal. All primary data remained in the temporary occupied city. There was no way to save and withdraw the material or technical base of the university. It's impossible to note that it was not possible to organize a centralized evacuation from the occupied cities. So every academic staff, students made their own decision based on their own beliefs about security and personal circumstances. Zaporizhia is near the front line and suffers daily from enemy attacks. That's why the university management decided not to concentrate us, academic staff and students, in the one place near the bombing attack. Our university community are scattered all over the world. Many of us moved from the occupied territories of active hospitals to safer cities in Ukraine. Certain numbers remain to live in the occupation even nowadays, but they continued to work in Ukrainian university for Ukrainian laws. You can see on this slide how many academic staff of our university move abroad, how stay in the occupied territory, and how many live to the safety place in Ukraine. It is a danger to stay in the occupation, but there are a lot of reasons why this academic staff decided to do is such a way. For example, we asked our colleagues about their decision and they told, I can't leave my family alone. I have older parents and they cannot survive the evacuation. Or I'm afraid to leave. This is too dangerous. I don't know where to go. My financial situation will not allow me to rent an apartment in other city, even in Ukraine. Nowadays, all cities of Ukraine are unsafe to live in, so I stay at home. Some of the faculty members who remained in the city were captured. And they are our hero because they are still with us and still work with us as a researcher and a teacher. However, despite the situation in which we found ourselves, we continued our work. Most of us can't continued our work for different reasons. You can see on slide that for some of us was really important to have some equipment to do their research work. But other still work with their research before that they started before war. But most of our academic staff that are still in occupation often say that they can't think about science in general. And the one operational Zoom meeting for the deputy deans on the scientific work, one of the facilities which was devoted to monitoring the current situation, said, I wandered the city stores all day in search of food for my family. Do I have time to think about science now? Uncertainty about the future situation has the greatest negative impact on our scientific and research activities. In particular, this factor is the most significant. Furthermore, the significant impact has the non-stable internet connection and the sense of danger. Our academic staff also mentioned the follow factors: lack of living conditions, workplace, for example, lack of time because you need to reconstruct your personal life in the new place, small children, and so on. It should be noted that 75% of our academic staff are women. This is due to the pedagogical orientation of our higher educational institute. What does it mean in this context? In the occupied Berdyansk, most of the men lost their jobs because of the all companies stopped work and were seized by the occupation authorities. Many men joined to the Ukrainian army to defend the state. Therefore, women scientists had additional social roles and obligations. Most of them remained the only breadwinners in the family. Kindergartens and schools stopped working, and the restoration of the educational process at the university led to extensive educational load. Science does not tolerate as systematic activity. So the scientific progress requires concentration and total immersion. Unfortunately, our scientists were almost in such circumstances. Asking about the factors that positively affected their prevention of scientific activities seems a little cynical to us, but nevertheless we dare to ask such a question, knowing of the indomitable spirit and diligence of our scientists. They underline in our survey that we made that the desire to continue the victory is the greatest factor which motivates them to continue their scientific research work. Also, our academic staff prefer these factors as the most important. In addition, they named such factors: support from scientists around the world, opportunities for new research, and feeling of security if they moved abroad or more safety cities in Ukraine. Half of our academic staff who answered the question, have your scientific interest changed after the full-scale war in Ukraine, mentions that their scientific interest had not changed, and they continue to work in the same research problem. Another respondents answered that they continue to work in their research problem, but conduct research in the context of the impact of a full-scale war. And some part of our academic staff responded that they had completely changed their research interests since the beginning of the war. Now the focus of their research interest in the phenomena caused by full-scale war. Currently, Ukrainian researchers have a unique experience of having their basic human need for safety violent. Researchers as civilians without means of self-defense and a physical and psychological training are subject to constant military injuries. The traumatization factors of the war have been in effect for a long time, and therefore there is a lack of internal resources necessary for recovery. This is extremely important because science is a creativity and a creation. This is why it is possible only in the presence of internal resources and creative inspiration. In addition, in such situation, it's really important to have personal, material, psychological, and specific equipment, including family members, and some of our academic staff lost their loved ones, homes, social economical status, and persistent horrific memories. But nevertheless, we still work, and this change makes us stronger. The large-scale war of Russia against Ukraine has a strong destructive effect of research activities. However, the actions of Ukrainian scientific community and around the global increase in support of Ukrainian opening up new opportunities for Ukrainian researchers for further research activities. In times of crisis, researchers should not be conservative and resistant to change, but should be self-directed, proactive, flexible, and adaptable in managing their capabilities. The temporary relocation of the university opportunities for publication of the one of own research, the opportunities to participate in the grant activities, and informational about the available opportunities for researchers make it possible to restore and continue our academic life in the times of the large-scale war in Ukraine. Today, our desire to contribute to the victory is one of the important factors in the restoration of research activities for our university academic staff. So recovery of the state is a personal goal for every Ukrainian researcher in the times of large-scale war. The entire world supports the Ukrainian scientific community is the factor is recognized as a significantly simulating one of the reset of Ukrainian researchers' activity for continuing academic life. We researchers can be useful for our country by studying the effects of war and telling the world about it. So you can see on slide some publication that made my team where I enjoyed, and we really believe that we do really important work nowadays. So we are a team nowadays of like-minded people, and we already have certain publication which mainly highlight how the war and occupation affected the academy. And I want to share the latest publication that we prepared about burnout. This study examined burnout dynamics among Ukrainian academic staff from whole Ukraine during the full-scale war. It is a cross-sectoral study, was conducted twice. The first wave in July 2022 and the second in January 2023. And the results showed a significant positive trend in emotional exhaustion among Ukrainian academic staff, with females being more sensitive to war-related factors. The results demonstrate that prolonged stressful situation associated with the ongoing war and constant changes in professional conditions lead to significant depersonalization dynamics among academic staff of both sexes. For male academic staff, factors such as age and academic position become less significant for depersonalization. However, university relocation and migration processes were significant war-related factors affected female academic staff. Perception of effectiveness and accomplishments in their professional activities. So nowadays in Ukraine, we can't tell about work-life balance. But nevertheless, we still work, we still continued our academic life. Today is it's some accepted manuscripts that we made for about our academic community and war-related factors and occupation-related factors on the academic staff and their activities. Today is the 611th day of the large-scale war in Ukraine. In war times, when the concept of a university without walls in Ukraine took on a new meaning for us, let me reflect on the lessons we have learned. First and foremost, let us firmly grasp the truth that a university is not defined by its physical campus. It's defined by its people. During the upheaval, we must remember that people, no matter where we are scattered, our collected spirit and our shared ambition for learning, research, connect us together and create the very essence of our university. The importance of supporting one another cannot be overstated. In these times, as we navigate a displacement and disrupted academic landscape, our strength lies in our unity. Continuing academic life in the university without walls, we find ourselves dispersed across diverse landscapes, each with unique challenges and circumstances. However, this diversity can be our greatest strength in such terrible times. We are connected by a common purpose: the victory of Ukraine, the desire to live and work in peace, and the unwavering belief that science and education know any boundaries. Just as any traditional university in Ukraine nowadays, it's our support for one another that is a cornerstone of our collective survival as a university. We are trying to uplift and inspire each other from every corner of the world, fostering an interconnected community that knows any limits. Collaboration knows no physical boundaries. Whatever the sharing insights, offering encouragement, or simply lending and listening, our collective support empowers us to overcome any obstacle that stands in our way. Together we prove that in the face of devil, we are strengthened, united, and determined. The bonds we form and the supports we form the whole world and offer to one another are the back road upon which we are built our academic community after our victory. Understanding the meaning and values of our struggle becomes even more significant in times of crisis. These principles are our compass through our uncertainty and ensuring that our scientific and educational front remains resolute. We understand that it's not just a war between two countries. This is a war between two systems, authoritarianism and democracy. Russia wants to convince the entire world that democracy, the rule of law, and human rights are fake values because they couldn't protect anyone in the war. Russia wants to convince that a state with a powerful military potential and nuclear weapon can break international order, dictate the rule, and occupied city, destroyed people's life. I would never wish anyone to go through our experience, university without walls. But these dramatic times provide us as opportunity to reveal the best in us. To make difficult but right choice, to be courageous, to fight for freedom, to take a burden of responsibility. The terrible experience of the war sets new trends, but presents us with the chance to showcase our resilience and creativity for continuing our academic life. It is during such times that innovation often flourishing and new ideas take root. Scattered all over the world, but closer than ever. We are all together and work as a single organism. Most of us lost everything, but we didn't lose faith in Ukraine, understanding the importance of our research work, for hope for a bright future that will come after darkness. Therefore, we are focused and do allow ourselves to lose our working productive mood. We are no longer have fear and despair. We are unbreakable. Work sometimes help us to escape from thoughts, reading the news, fear and anxiety. But we hold our educational scientific front. We will still stand because we know that behind darkness always comes light. I am so grateful for your attention today. So if you have any question about our survival, please be free to ask.